Continuing with our simplifying radicals expressions, we're going to start using the distribution property. What this means is you're going to take everything on the outside of the parentheses and you're just going to give it to everything on the inside. It's no different from when we're solving equations or expressions using the distributive property that you've learned way back starting in 5th, 6th, 7th grade, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this square root of 2 and we're going to multiply it by both things inside our parentheses. Now, when we have a 3 and we're multiplying it by the square root of 2, we're going to leave that 3 as a coefficient and then square root of 2 next to it. So really, square root of 2 times 3 equals 3 square root of 2. Now, when we have two things that are inside a radical sign, we're going to multiply those things inside the radical sign and keep them there. So plus the square root of 10, because 2 times 5 is 10. Now, we can't simplify 3 square root 2 anymore, and there's no perfect squares that come out of the square root of 10, so our answer is simply going to be 3 square root 2 plus the square root of 10. In this next example we're dealing with some negatives. And this is where we have to remember that when we multiply a negative by a negative, we get a positive by a positive, we get a negative. We need to remember all of those rules. So again, we're going to give that negative 3. We're going to distribute it to both parts, both terms in the expression. So negative 3 times negative 10 gives us 30. Negative 3 times negative square root 5 is going to give us plus 3 square root 5. There's nothing we can do to simplify that square root of 5, so we are done. That's all you need to do. Another situation where we're dealing with negative and positives. So negative 5 times 10 is going to give us our negative 50. Negative 5 times negative square root 3, that's going to give us a positive 5 square root 3. Always look inside this radical sign. If there's something you can do to simplify that, you need to make sure that you do it. But square root 3, there's nothing we can do there. So our answer is going to be negative 50 plus 5 square root 3. All right, so all of these are inside radicals, so we're going to keep working on the inside. So square root 5 times square root 10. Remember, we're going to give it to everything in the parentheses. We're going to have the square root of 50 plus 5 times 3, the square root of 15. Now, I know that 50 we can simplify that. I know that it's even, so I can divide it by 2. And then I know my prime factorization that I have a 5 that I can take out of there. There's a pair of 5s. So my square root 50 is going to turn into 5 square root 2 plus, there's nothing I can do with 15. It gives me 3 and 5, no pairs, so plus the square root of 15. This is going to be my answer. You have to remember, look inside here and make sure that you simplify when you can. You need to look at those and look at the prime factorization tree that we've been practicing. Here is another example where we've got some radical signs. So the square root of 7 times the square root of 7, that is going to give us the square root of 49 plus 8 times the square root of 49. Well, let's look inside those radical signs. We know the square root of 49 is just 7 plus 8 times 7. So we've got 7 plus 56, which is going to equal 63. So simplified all the way down, 63 is going to be our answer right here. So I think you guys are going to do great on this, but just make sure that you look inside your radical sign, whatever is encompassed in there, whether it be variables or integers, make sure that they're simplified as much as physically possible before you submit your answer. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or contact me through Remind or on Google Classroom, and I will be more than happy to walk you through some more problems.